People reportedly got lost on a film set because it didn't always lead back to the same place. That can't be true, right? Or is it exactly the kind of thing the Backrooms would pull? Hi, I'm Allie, and I am so ready to poke a weird buzzing wall today.
And I'm Brianne, and I would like to file an official complaint against buzzing walls everywhere. Headache Central.
Welcome to the Veil. Unsolved and Unbelievable. I have had like 4 coffees. Consider this your warning.
I'm on herbal tea because I want to remember which corridor I came from when this is over.
Okay, so check this out. Today we're talking about the Effigy Door, a nickname for a corner of the Vancouver stages where they shot Backrooms. Effigy was the working title, and the rumor is that one doorway didn't always lead back to the same place. I believe there's more to it than just people getting turned around.
Wait. A haunted film set. Or, a maze built to be confusing that confused people. Sorry, not sorry.
Back to the facts. The Backrooms movie is Kane Parsons' feature debut, the same Kane Pixels who blew up YouTube in 2022 with those analog nightmare shorts. A24 distributed it. It premiered at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica in May 2026, then hit US theaters at the end of the month. It's this science fiction psychological horror thing that leans hard on liminal spaces and that nasty fluorescent hum. They shot in Vancouver in mid-2025 under the working title Effigy. Producers included James Wan, Sean Levy, Osgood Perkins, and it was financed under $10 million. Here's the big one. Instead of faking everything in a computer, they built these sprawling, near-identical yellow hallways. People reportedly got lost on set. Like, actually lost. That's the baseline.
Which is exactly what happens when you build a giant beige rat maze on a stage. Not supernatural, just cruel interior design.
Here's the deal. My theory is the Effigy Door was more than bad wayfinding. I've pieced this together from whispers and the way the film obsessively riffs on bad copies. So I'm going to tell it in the swing worker's voice. The person who, I believe, experienced it first. You ready?
I call BS in advance, but carry on. Entertain me.
Here's what went down. I was a swing on nights. Stage B smelled like wet carpet even before we pumped haze. Those yellow walls flattened distance until 20 feet looked like forever. We were temping a run of fluorescence in a corner the art maps labeled L Loop 3. The hum stabilized to one glassy tone. My radio went from crisp to marshy in a blink. I chalked an X at the baseboard so I wouldn't loop. I take the turn, expecting to land back near the camera truck. Instead, the aisle kept going. Too long for the stage footprint. The ceiling grid repeated so perfectly it made my eyes water. I called Jules on comms, got chewing static. Then my own voice came back a hair too slow. Not how stages echo. More like something was repeating me.
Latency on cheap radios, or someone stepped on your channel. It happens.
I kept counting tiles. 24 across with 2 skips is our build. Then I hit 25. No skip. I tapped the grid with a C-wrench. Instead of a nice hollow clank off flown rails, it thudded like a wet beam. I marked another X and clipped a clamp low so I'd feel it if I looped. Then I passed another X. Not mine. Broader chalk. Smudged like a boot dragged over it days ago.
So another crew member had the same clever idea earlier. Shocking development.
The hum dipped like the room exhaled. I smelled chlorine under the carpet mold and turned right into what should have been the fire lane. Dead end. Beige wall with a ripple in the paint like heat on asphalt. I touched it. Tiny oscilloscope buzz under my skin. For a second, I saw my reflection in the eggshell, but taller, backlit by no source. My radio suddenly barked, and it felt like the voice came from behind that ripple, not my belt. I back up, find the clamp, hoof it. I push past a freestanding partition and boom! I'm behind craft services like I teleported in by the coffee urns. Jules is pale and says I've been gone 50 minutes, but my watch says 14. We check the overhead security. The feed skips this neat little square of time where I should have crossed frame C. Security says corrupted media. Happens. We started calling that corner the Effigy Door and we avoided it.
or the camera dropped frames and the art department moved a wall while you were chasing a flicker, and you smelled chlorine because somewhere else on the stage they were dressing the pool-like room. All extremely normal for a shoot that built a maze.
Weeks later, I watched the Final Cut's interrogation room. This bad copy of a real space, and my stomach climbs into my throat. That beige ripple looked exactly like the film's wrong rooms. My belief. That corner wasn't just a hallway. It was an imitation of a hallway that briefly connected to another copy. The effigy door. Not haunted, just the place where the copy bled through.
Let's move on to the boring explanation that ruins the fun. They built extensive practical sets, labyrinthine enough that crew reportedly got lost. Night shift, haze in the air, fluorescent hum at a fixed frequency. You are primed for dissociation. Identical patterns mess with place cells in your hippocampus. That is not woo, that is neuroscience. Time perception drifts when you are stressed and under continuous noise. Radios on sound stages bounce. If a nearby handheld repeats your audio or a wall of metal studs reflects signal, you can get your own voice back with a delay. The Chalk X mismatch is just someone else's mark. The ripple in the paint could be heat haze from dimmers or a hazer vent. Static buzz on your fingers is minor discharge from dry carpet and fixtures. Not extra-dimensional, just mildly unpleasant.
Okay, but the aisle being longer than the stage footprint. Explain that without shrugging.
Rolling flats. You think you are tracing a rectangle, but a carpenter has pivoted a partition for a reset, or you miscount tiles because the grid repeats. If you are counting to 25 and the skip tiles moved, your brain fills it in. And corrupted security footage is shockingly common. Drives hiccup. Someone killed power on a distro for a second. The point is, the simplest explanation keeps us out of ghost OSHA territory.
I hear you. But this production leaned into real corridors until even crew got lost. They named it effigy, a word about copies. The film is about spaces that imitate reality badly. And inside the story, Async literally monitors mapped zones and pulls people out with gas. I think intentions like that bleed into spaces. You stack enough mimicry in one warehouse, and the copy starts negotiating for more room.
Or you build a maze on purpose to feel like that, which, to be fair, they nailed. The movie ditches jump scares and lets fluorescent hum and empty rooms do all the work. I get why someone would walk that and swear space bent. But that is design plus psychology, not an interdimensional workers' comp claim.
Here's where I land. My theory is the effigy door was a weak spot where a copy met a copy. Maybe it happened once, maybe it lasted minutes. The chalk, the hum shift, the wrong length, the time skip. It adds up for me. Isn't that bananas?
And my perfectly sensible position, fatigue, identical corridors, and radios being radios. Let's put a pin in that for now, because either way, it is such a vibe.
A greater question. If a space is built to mimic reality and it makes you feel unreal, which is more true? Your perception in the moment, or the blueprint in a binder? I think what we feel inside certain rooms can bend who we are, even if the studs are perfectly square.
Recommendation time. Watch Backrooms. A24 put it out. Kane Parsons co-composed the score, and it is all oppressive hum, no cheap jolts. If you like Eraserhead or Skinamarink or just being uncomfortable in beige, you are sorted.
All right, moving on to lunch plans. I am craving something that is not yellow and buzzing. Noodles. Infinite noodles. Can you imagine?
We'll meet you at the effigy door to the ramen place. If I am late, tell security the footage corrupted again.
Thank you for listening to The Veil. Keep your radios on, mark your corners, and keep questioning the unexplained.